for today, we are going to go through thoracic mobility, hip mobility, and then some general strength and mobility exercises that I look to put clients through, and we'll take it from there.
Yeah.
Right? Ryan is studying to be stick mobility certified soon, and you guys know how much I love it.
That's why I got you here. I remember watching you first on Instagram with all the content that you were putting out with these. And I remember seeing people doing them a little bit at Equinox, but the fact that you have to travel with them, you don't see them as frequent as I would like.
I know. Who's going to invent the foldable one or that unscrews?
I think that's the problem, though. It's the getting the elasticity with having one piece. How are you going to do that with two?
I will say one thing. Someone brought it up, I think it was at the conference I was at, because we were talking about it. The only thing that really bends
is the middle.
The middle. So can there be some sort of apparatus like that? I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. You're doing the cert. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to talk about too much basics, although some of the basics that I think are most important. Good grip. That's huge.
Good grip.
Good grip. So no matter if you're pressing it down into the ground, whatever exercise I show you, if you're having it go over your head, it's just keeping good grip the whole time. I'm making stuff up, right? Just going behind me. The difference is I'm not like playing around with my fingers.
Sure.
I have good grip.
Sure.
And that changes everything because I make a muscle.
Yeah.
So that's one thing, good grip. And then straight arms, right? Making stuff up literally as we go. But it's because I have a straight arm, right? When you do this, then you're just, what are you doing? You're just like...
Well, you're like activating musculature, which is going to change where you can see in the range of motion you could attain if you were in some sort of like locked out position.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
That's the whole reason I started, or I wanted to do stick mobility, was I felt like my training style is really rigid in the sense of I follow like a protocol, right? Like I think of some people program like, okay, super basic, you get to like bro science and people are like, oh, chest day, back day, right leg day, whatever. Maybe you go a little further along and you're like, okay, posterior, anterior, right? So I try to think of like, okay, what movement patterns are gonna be needed to replicate outside in the world that we need to practice in the gym, right? So like, okay, carrying objects, right? Hip hinging, squatting, some sort of single-legged like knee flexion, like a lunge, something like that, right? A ground to stand pattern, vertical pull, vertical push, horizontal pull, horizontal push. You can get fancier, and like I've done, I think it's In Motion, or the people who made TRX, DP, Derek Price, he has a good seminar that they do. And they get a little bit more complex with like lateral shifting and quick explosive. But like, okay, that's for athletes and I get it. But like, we're not working with athletes most of the time. So how do I then take all those movement patterns I just mentioned and make that applicable for the normal person, right? Most bang for your buck. How do we find 100 exercises that 1 million people could use? I'd rather that than 10,000 exercises that only 100 people can use, right? I'm not interested in that kind of training for the most part. And I felt like stick mobility was a good way of working people's elasticity. Like, and again, I'm going to do things which you're going to have to show me. I don't know if these are movement patterns, just concepts, right?
Just
like,
think about the two things we talked about, right?
Like,
do you have good grip with your right hand when you did that? Right?
I think so, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And you kept a straight arm.
Yep.
And you pushed.
Yeah.
That's it.
And the concept of pushing and pulling on one apparatus and being able to have like an isometric hold or something, I find very beneficial, which is hard to do with the modalities that are in my gym now, right? So like again, thoracic rotation, super important. Whether you're an athlete and you play tennis or golf, like I play golf, or not, right? You're gonna turn and you're gonna be seated when you're at the dinner table. Maybe you turn to go reach something. Like you need to have adequate mobility so you're not rotating from other places in your spine, right? So like concepts like that I found really important that, okay, like this would be a good use. So hence today I wanna pick your brain and kind of see what we can do.
Yeah, and even before I forget, and this is kind of an advanced thoracic. So here I'm pressing the stick into the wall.
Yep.
And then pressing over here as well.
Okay.
Right? Opening up that whole, like by your lats, but also strengthening it. Give that a try.
When you do like a lot of these positions, is there a protocol for like time under tension, like how long you're supposed to hold each rep, or like
Great
how do you measure volume overall volume, set volume, rep volume with something that's like isometric holds? What's most efficient? I don't know.
3 sets of 10 seconds is sort of by the manual right now with everything. A friend and member, we've been testing 1 minute holds, all of these, which has been, I thought, very eye-opening. And it's the whole, I mean, you hear about like stretching, it's not gonna until like 30 seconds, a minute in.
Sure.
And like you think about a bow and arrow, right? And we're out. So just a bow and arrow.
Yep.
And for you guys here, I'll go to the left and you'll go right.
Okay, I'll do it lateral as well. I'll face you this way.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So this move right here, you have it on at 9 or 3 o'clock, about 6 inches out. If it's hard for someone to bend the stick, it's further out. You can move the stick in for more advanced.
Yep.
Right. So I would move the stick 6 inches from your right foot.
6 inches. Okay.
Yep. Hand is down in the middle.
Okay.
Good. And you're gonna have your left arm go above and behind. Good grip. Thumb facing down.
I'm pronated or am I? Okay.
Thumb facing down. Stick that left hip out.
Yep.
And press. Good. And now check this out. For a minute, when we hold this, I'm going to get out of this position. You're going to stay in it. This is when where the beauty comes in. 10 seconds, you would have already been done. Can you step your hips back just a tad? Rib flare, can that go in for me? Good. Keep holding it. Toes look good for me. Can you open up further up here, and can you have your ears aligned with your shoulders a bit more?
Ears aligned with shoulders like this?
No. Just keep that. Yep. Just the head going back. And I would still work on that rib flare. And bring it in. And that was probably 45 seconds, but there's magic in that too.
Sure.
I haven't seen it yet. I do believe like that's the next method.
Sure.
That minute method.
The other thing I like about the concept of stick mobility is breathing mechanics are obviously so important, right? And when you're holding static poses, you have more time in a position where breathing seems more important, because when you're doing movement, it seems easy, like eccentric breathing, breathe in, concentric breathe out, right? Something like that. But when you make people static hold something, their breathing becomes more erratic because now they don't have cues or signs of when they should be and when they shouldn't be breathing. So I feel like this is a good time when you could use breath holds. You could do breathing drills, like 4 seconds in, 4 seconds out, 8 seconds in, 8 seconds out. And you can work on multiple facets of health and wellness in one device, right?
Yeah.
I like that.
That's huge. I don't even think we go into that today. That's a whole nother ball game.
Sure.
So hip mobility, a lot of strength work is what I love for my clients. And 2 great moves are Captain Morgan, and I call it kind of like stay on the laser. I'll show you in a bit what that means. So if you want to go, like I'll have it in my left hand, and depending on how mobile they are, let's go right to the side. So fully mobile here. You're gonna lift your right knee.
Am I applying any pressure down on the stick?
No pressure on the stick.
I'm just hanging, okay.
Yep, and have your hand be on the handle. Good. So your right knee, and so your stick's gonna have to be closer. Yep. And have your right knee and right foot bend the stick like this.
I'm applying pressure, okay.
Applying pressure, but you're keeping posture good and forward, right? So it looks like you're leaning forward, right? How presentable can you be up here?
Sure.
Now can you move it up 90 degrees while you're breaking that stick?
Obviously, this is great. Like number one.
Now you move up as high as you can go while breaking that stick. And now on the other side, I'll lead you through a way how I would do it with the client as far as count.
Sure. Question, when you're asking someone to apply pressure to this, is it equal pressure of my knee and my foot? Because like, obviously now I'm in internal rotation. Is it more pressure with your knee? Is it like, where do you cue there?
Equal.
Equal.
Whole leg, equal. And I usually do 3 rounds, 40%, 60%,
sure.
80%.
Yep.
And you'll learn about that. So it's at your left side, closer to your left. We're gonna raise our left leg, have your whole left outside leg touch it, and have your foot be by the handle. Good. And you're breaking the stick
Okay, that's
at
a good measurement system.
and you're keeping, again, in the room, right? There you go. 90 degrees. We're gonna press out 60%, 10 seconds, hold. A lot of times I step to the client because you're not pressing. Yeah.
Yeah, you go to feel for feedback.
Because they're not pressing.
Sure.
And now you're gonna go as high as you can, break that stick. You should feel it in your right glute. Left hip is also working. Remember, you gotta look forward. That's the whole game. And down. That's a big part of like having everything here down below work, but I'm good up top.
Sure.
Whatever other moves I'm doing, raising, everything stays good.
Okay, I like that.
You can also do that with just your foot, right? Where you press the outside of your foot. So knee up and break the stick with your foot. That's a bit more glute. Now it's not the left leg working, it's more the right leg.
Sure.
And up higher. Breaking the stick.
But there's the key too that seems is like, I'm not trying to like internally rotate and like do a kickback. I'm trying to stay like in between.
It's almost to the point, like maybe you stay over here so you can see yourself in the mirror. Right? You definitely don't want this, right? Oh, yeah, I'm kicking, coach.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Obviously,
how much do I need to break this
Their
stick?
hips are square, but it's less like extension of your hip, and it's just internal rotation.
You look like you're giving a speech, and then but your leg's working, right? That's the game there.
Okay.
So next one, even having the stick a little behind. Oh, and what we just did with the Captain Morgan's.
So that's what that was called. Leg out to the side, Captain Morgan.
Captain Morgan's.
Okay, and you can do the same thing now.
You can do the same thing sliding up and down.
Okay.
Apply pressure. You can do the same thing going in.
Yep.
Right?
Okay.
Working our adductors. So now, hip control. This is, I think, huge for just for control purposes. Instilling counts and empowering clients to, instead of letting weights, the stick, whatever it is, a sort of like exercise control them, they control the move, right? And this is that first one where I teach them, we're just gonna do stick behind us, and we're lifting the leg up and down, whatever your count is. And it's usually gonna be a 2 count, right? Like 1, 2, and down. 1, 2, and down.
I noticed your stick is a little bit more behind you, I think. Okay.
Yep, and I'm just pressing down, good. And now, can you make that a 4 count? So it's gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4, and down. Down is the same count. 1, 2, 3, 4. Might have went a little too fast. Down, I don't care about the down part, right?
Okay.
Let's just go up.
Okay.
I'm gonna move this.
Yep.
There you go. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, and down. 1, 2, 3, 4, and
It's also hard to not the lateral hip shift you want to do to like compensate. So to not do that is rather challenging.
And if you see yourself in the mirror, if we both go in the mirror and I'm in front of you, you can notice, right? My body is staying upright. There we go. That should have been tougher.
I think the visual cue on some of this stuff, like the proprioception for your body is, it's a little bit easier in that way.
Because you'll see you were all over the place with that, and now you're working it. So 6 count now. It's gonna be a lot slower. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right? That wasn't smooth.
Sure.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Smooth. 8 count. 1, 2, 3, 4,
too fast
5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ready for this? 7, 8. Hold. Press into the stick. Good. 10 seconds. And down.
Whew. Yeah.
So, raises, right? We got Captain Morgan. We got leg raises both ways, separate counts. Same thing going down. You could do a count 2.
Yep.
You can play around with it.
Sure.
Then you can press into it. Can we go up halfway, stop, pressing into it, up? That's what I'm loving with my clients now, the pauses, right?
Yeah.
The control of...
Sure. It's nice the variety of what you can throw. So when people get used to it, they're like, okay, I know what we're doing. It's like, not exactly. You do 3 seconds here, 4 seconds, right? You can throw some wrenches in there.
100%. That one leg lift alone, you could do... Yeah. You have 6, 8, 12 weeks of programming different moves. Now, the laser. You're going to have the stick out at 2 or 10 o'clock. You're going to raise your right knee, and your right knee is going to point directly forward. So raise your leg 90 degrees, and you're going to tap the stick, and then you can have the client hold 2 sticks to tap, but right now we're just tapping internally and externally rotating, right? And what I do is I say, don't leave my finger. Buzz.
I like
Buzz.
that. I like that as a cue.
Buzz. Bzzz. There we go. Bzzz. Bzzz. Right? It's not easy.
Yeah.
So anyone,
I like
it's
that.
not, and that's hip control, big time.
So
and you really need to be a coach and be a cue here, because it's tough to see it in the mirror, but
yeah, no, exactly.
And look, you see how tough it is.
I got my tongue out of my mouth like I'm Jordan driving to the hoop. This is, The fact that you know where the starting point was every time as you're doing it is very helpful. So I like that, okay?
Yeah.
It's a good cue.
And those are kind of my big 3 for hips.
That's perfect.
You know? Then you have stretches. You do have 90-90s where I like this stick. It gets involved in 90-90s. Just holding it upright. And this always makes it harder because you want to keep it straight, right? When you're doing the 90-90s.
Sure.
For some people, i.e. me, it's tough to get into that 90-90. So pressing into the ground to be up and then lifting the stick, right? I was a lot worse. I would just sink into the ground, but that's also what you can do.
Sure.
Pressing into the wall is also working side planks, right? While you're in that 90-90, holding it down. So now I'm rambling on, but you also have, I love this pull that you got here. Think about golfers, baseball players, anyone with looking for like stronger hips, pressing it into the wall and then driving, right? Or driving the other way. Give that a try. Just pushing the stick into the wall is a side plank. So arms straight in front of you, right? I would step a little closer, yep. And you're going to swing with your right hip in, and left hip, right? While pressing into the wall. And then look, Ryan, press the stick 40% in. Give me 2 swings each side. And now let's go 80%. Good. Right? Like we always say, 80 pounds is different for me than it is for you than someone else.
Sure.
80%.
Sure.
is the same for everybody.
Sure. I like the concept of, okay, for instance, let's say you do an anti-rotation, right? I do a ton of anti-rotation with my clients. You're resisting a load, rotating you to the right. If I'm facing this direction, right? Obviously, if it's to the left of me, then I'm resisting that way. But it's an interesting concept of doing anti-rotation, but trying to rotate, so you're isometrically doing rotation, but you're not at the same time. It's the same concept, but it's like flip-flop the other way, which I like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And not a lot of clients can also, one, it's tough to be stable with anti-rotation like that too.
Sure.
Right? And also just think about side plank or a regular plank. How many clients can't even get into like a plank, and now all of a sudden you ask them to press the stick into the ground. That's a plank.
Yeah.
I'm in a plank
for
a minute. I can add hip rotation. I can add thrusting my hip, right? We'd even talk about that with hip mobility.
Yeah. I like, well, the concept of this too, like getting proprioception, or like, there's another word called like it's like sounds
irrigation.
Like, it sounds like irrigation. What is it? Say it again.
Irrigation.
Irrigation, that's it. Right?
That's from pressing down.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the percentages.
Sure. The fact of irrigation and like making a muscle contract under like a static object, it's easier to get people to have like proprioception and get how to work that muscle, like lat pullovers, for instance, right? Okay, it's very specified, it's for bodybuilders, things like that. But some people, if you need to learn how to engage your lat, you can put a band, you pull the band, you say just hold this contraction, right? This might be a better way of doing what you're trying to do, or getting to the goal of getting people to realize how to connect certain like neural pathways, right? Just like you having a straight arm and then driving down and telling people, okay, you're gonna feel your lat engage, right? Scapular depression, push down as hard as you can. This also seems like another way to get feedback. Another cool thing I guess you could do, so like there's warding patterns. I don't know if they go about that in this, they do it a little bit in the in motion kind of seminar I was talking about. Warding pattern is when you're applying force, right? Like I'm in this position here, right? I'm applying force to the wall, and then I take off, and I have to turn on and off neural pathways, and I have to be able to adapt. It's the same concept of like get into a lunge position for me. Knee all the way to the ground. Okay, so I'll do it this way so the camera can see. So arms out in front of you, locked out. Good. Okay, so push your hands together. Good. Okay, now from here, I want you to resist the direction that I'm pressing. Okay? But I'm gonna stop. So the goal is you have to turn on and off these pathways and stay, again, the laser's here.
Yep.
Right? And you could play with people this way. Right? Like maybe you have to turn on more because I'm not pushing that much. Maybe you have to turn on less, whatever it is. Maybe you go back and forth. Right? It's like, so, okay, now we're getting very specified into what you could train, but you could also do this with this, like you could verbally cue people, right? Like, okay, 80%, stop. And you maybe can't see the feedback, but they're able to work on turning on and off very quickly.
And you can also, so this may fall more into our strength work and stability work. Because we would have to turn sideways, but we could do that. So if you could do the same thing you did, left foot, right foot, lunge.
Lateral lunge?
No, facing that way.
Yep.
Yeah. And you're gonna grab the stick and hand here. Good. And you're gonna have it go above your head, straight up above your head. Good. So now have that right knee come off the ground. And I'm gonna pull the stick down, push it up, pull it, push it, and you have to stay
You're just going
steady.
vertical though with it, up and down.
And you stay in that position.
Sure.
And I'll say what I'm gonna do.
Sure.
Down. Up. Up. Pull. Pull. Push. Push. Up.
Oh, long ways for me.
Down. Good.
Sure.
So that too.
My thing when I get into, like, we could have, again, if you're seeing someone, this is my philosophy with like programming, if you're seeing someone 5 days a week, you can do a lot of fun stuff like this with people, right? Most of the time we see people twice a week. They barely work out on their own, right? So it's like, okay, what are the bread and butter things that we do most?
bread and butter.
This I like, but
for
it's not
that-
within that concept usually.
Yeah, where this falls in for me is partner flow. So you're not there yet because you just haven't done it. You haven't gotten your hands dirty with someone. But like you will have a time on your program when you're warming them up. That's a great dynamic warm up. And on the program, I don't have lunge holding this or high plank with the. I just have partner flow. And then like it's whatever I think Ryan needs that day or what would be good or what we haven't worked on. And then you play with it 5 minutes. But 100%, it's not like a staple that you're doing every time. The raises, the Captain Morgans,
that's in there.
the press-in, staples.
Yeah.
This falls in line with hips and thoracic spine. As far as you would be closer to the camera here, so I'm kind of gonna, and I'll be demonstrating so I won't hit. So let me just go through it before we do anything, because there's a little process. So you have them press their hands forward to open up their back, right? And this alone, a lot of clients, like, they might have kyphosis. This alone, like, helps out with that. Now, we're gonna go so you can see where this is going. We're just gonna twist side to side, but first thing I'm gonna do is my head, my feet, my hips, my head are staying forward, and I'm just gonna press with my right hand slightly and then press with my left. But you don't want your head or feet or hips. You could take a look down to see if your hips are moving. Plenty of times the clients will start moving.
I don't want my torso to move either. I want to do this with my arms, or do I want to do this with my torso?
You just want to push with your arms right now. Then comes your head. So now it's feet, hips still, and then move, and you can have your head go and try to follow with your head, but keep those hips pointed forward. And you can even look at your hips if they're still pointed forward, and you can start to notice how your abs are coming into it, your psoas.
Now you have locked out legs?
Slightly bent, almost with all of these. I never have locked out legs. Now have your hips go, but your toes stay forward. Right? So more psoas. Unleash those hips and keep those feet down. Very easy to switch from that to now in front, violin. You're gonna have them, and this right off the bat, they feel thoracic spine. You're gonna hinge forward. I'm gonna step just a tad bit so we're not bumping heads. And you're going side to side while keeping that chest facing down. And again, straight arms, good grip, wide grip. And then you're gonna drop it by your left foot. Take your right hand off and punch down the middle. And this is where you can have your right shoulder go towards the ground. Right arm is pulling, left arm is pulling back. And you can even flag staff. We'll do it on the other side. So switch here. Yep. Left hand comes off and punches. And then check out what I do here when I flag staff over. Yeah. Right? And that's where you can hold too. Like if I hold it in this position.
Yeah, like that. When you were pressing, where in relation to the stick is your left hand, or the hand that's pressing?
I try to always go middle by the sticker.
Yep. Okay.
You'll get a feel for it, but as far as being a coach with a client, middle is always the safest bet.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
So another one. With thoracic, I find it to be more deep stretches.
Okay.
You know, than really like as far as strength stuff. I do like the Supermans, and that is strength. And I do think there's value in having the stick be down, lifting it up, and then you're gonna lightly tap the stick up. that engages the spine. That's a great cue for the clients to keep going up. You know what I mean? Even help me, I'm here for 30 seconds, make me work, right? So like just having it, or press it up, right? Like don't let, like Mike, don't touch it.
Sure.
If it drops,
Do you do a lot of Supermans with your clients?
Starting to. I've forgotten the beauty of the simple stuff.
Sure.
So yeah, starting to do that. Even with having the stick in Superman, having it go behind your head. Some people can't do that. Just have it go to the top of their head. Yeah, but thoracic is stretching, hands out in front, chest height, and the stick is always at this angle, right? Because that's that natural swing line. So right hand is on top. You're gonna have it drop to your left side. Chin goes over your shoulder, over the stick, and just hang. And then you can take your left hand off. Yep. Right arm stays straight and look at your left hand. Good.
Yeah, it's the concept of being able to push down with my hand.
Exactly.
To try to rotate further.
It's things that you feel it stretched, you feel it worked, and then it's surprising how and I like to have the other hand on top, but like it's surprising how in a month, 2 months, out of nowhere, all of a sudden your scapular slides, like everything like is better.
Sure.
I think if I show you also...
Was there another one from here that was like rotation and pressing? From a lunge position? Like a half kneeling bow and arrow? Was that one that you did before? So anything like that?
Anything we do, you can always do half kneeling. I will say bow and arrow, here's something that's great. Bow and arrow is tough for a lot of clients to do. You'll notice they can't straighten out. So that's when you use a wall. And you have them step outside the wall, and you have them press into the stick, and then just have them, right, reach.
Got it.
Right? Even try that yourself. Like you're just, pressing center of the stick, right, and just reaching.
Sure.
You can see how that's more than enough, even for you.
Sure. Sure. Yeah, it's a tad less intense too on your lat, if you don't, especially if you don't have the overhead flexion ability.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, and also the raised lowers, they're not sexy, right? We see in the gym everyone doing this.
Sure.
Right? And the thing I say, there's nothing wrong with doing this, but don't have your head go forward, right? Don't have your elbows be bent, right? Ribs flaring. Can you keep that good posture? My ears are aligned with my shoulders. Keep that good posture. Exactly. Don't let that head go forward. And then it's all good. But I find there to be even more strength in having that stick be in front. Arms, you're gonna pull the stick apart about 50%. Keep raising it as far as you can go without having your head go forward and your ribs flare. Don't let those ribs flare. Good. So that's your range. And now when you bring it back, you pull it apart. So your ears aren't aligned with your shoulders. There you go. And now when you come back forward and you see the stick in your sight, push it together. That shoulder health, that strength, I believe that taps into the thoracic spine the most. Like that kind of strength.
Okay, I like that. I saw you doing this one before too.
That's more for chest, I would say.
Sure.
Chest and shoulders.
Sure. I like that.
You have torso twist. You also have the popular shoulder stretch here, right? That everyone knows, but there's nothing in your hand. So now all of a sudden, can you place the stick from between your legs? Now I activate this muscle and I reach across the room. So through the back of your legs, so step forward here. It's gonna weave through, it's gonna thread through the back.
Diagonal?
No, take it out.
Opposite way?
Yep, opposite way. Oops. Okay. And you're gonna, yep, and it's always splitting your thigh. All these moves, you'll see they're splitting your thigh.
Okay.
And you're sitting on it, grab it with your right hand. No, right hand grabs the handle.
Oops.
It's gonna twist you.
Yeah.
Left hand weaves over the right.
Over this way?
Yep, and touch.
Oh, I like that. Yep.
Right, you could do that kneeling.
I'll do that this way, just so I have this on my phone.
Yeah.
Yep. I like that a lot. Okay, cool. I like that.
You said basic.
Any like whatever movements that you really love to do with people that you find applicable to a very wide variety of an audience. Whether it's mobility to start with, whether it's just philosophy and strength training. That's why I was like, go ahead and just program for me, as if you were like, okay, he doesn't have any specific goals. He's the average person that I see. Again, I want to specify more. It works with more people than less.
Yes, I'm gonna.
And you can give me the progressions and regressions.
Things that are just gonna pop into my head.
Yeah.
The first one that pops into my head is it's called rickshaw squat.
Okay.
Literally, clients who cannot squat.
Yeah.
My knees hurt. I have no cartilage. I can't squat.
Yeah.
In 1 minute, they're squatting.
Okay. Let's see that.
You place the stick into the wall, and you have the handles. Hey there.
How we doing, man? Go ahead.
So, rickshaw squat, pushing it into the wall, feet shoulder width. We're getting ready to do a squat, right?
Okay.
You can imagine this is scary for a lot of people.
Okay.
You have your hands by your side and you keep them loose, straight, but you're pressing back. So now I press back and I feel my whole front activate, even my back, my lats, everything. And I keep it pressed, keep pressing into the wall while I go down and up. You'd be surprised how this changes. And all of a sudden, look, maybe they can't do a squat without assistance, but they feel their legs working. And now they know, like, getting up out of chairs, how to activate. That right there is
Let me see. And you have them stand at a distance where it's like close to the handles?
I do to the handles. I just didn't know if it's going to catch in the camera, right? So yes, I would have them go forward, keep going forward. Go forward. Your hands are going to be by your sides. Hands are by your sides, rickshaw, right? I just didn't know if it's in the camera.
Sure.
That's why I moved back on the
Got
orange.
it. Okay, so
but I showed,
retract to press my shoulder
You're pressing.
blades?
Yeah, you're just pressing into the wall and doing a squat, coming up and down. That's all. That's all. And for you, I would even step your feet back. So you
arms
have
are completely locked out the whole time?
Yep, and step your feet back. Good. Down and up. And even
I mean,
now,
you can. I like how you
do
can
more of a figure four for me, where your knees are over your toes more, right? And can you lean forward more for me, just a tad? Good. Yep.
I mean, I like how it gives you feedback of how you can change, like how much knee flexion you go into.
Yeah.
Right. So if someone's like, "Oh, it hurts when I just, obviously bend your knee a lot," okay, you can hip hinge more and push your butt back further and get less into it, or you can have more vertical torso. I also like how now you can do like just weird isometric stuff too.
The other way, plank. Yeah, no, 100%.
I guess you could even have people think of like abducting your leg.
I never even thought of that.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
I guess there's more feedback that could be had. Okay, interesting.
Next one, dumpy squat, pressing it into the wall. Same thing here. I press it, whatever it is, 40, 60, 80%. And then I'm working my way down into my squat. This is elite squat. I can't do this without this.
Yeah.
But what it's teaching me is like, this is like, do you feel your core engaged like this when you're doing leg presses, back squat, goblet, right? Usually not. And then down here, you can have them hold, you can have them stir the pot. Give that a shot.
Grip is where?
Grip is in front. Well, yeah.
Anywhere specific height-wise?
Well,
Oh, because I'm going to move.
Yep, you're going to walk your way down while you're pressing up into the ceiling. Keep pressing and hold. Good. Come up. And then come back down. And now hold it down there. Go back down. Stir the pot for me. Good. Stir the pot the other way. Now can you lift your left heel off the ground for me? Left heel up. Good. And now right heel. Left. Right. Good. And up. It gets good quick. And that's any level. And
okay.
they'll feel that. Those two I love. Let's see. Those are strength moves.
I think that's good for today. I'll give them the gym.